that will make you rethink your whole childhood.
So everyone knows how important sleep is to function, which makes you think it would be smarter for school to start later, right? That way, students would actually be able to focus in class instead of all our brains running at about, 3%. So you would think there would be a specific reason why school needed to start so early. Well, actually, there was a reason, but it's just gonna make you angry. Matter of fact, all these secrets I'm about to tell you in this video about your childhood is gonna make you angry. This is just the very beginning. But before I tell you the actual reason for school starting so early, I need to show you something I just found out. So there are people who literally study sleep for a living, and there was one study done which revealed that during puberty, your brain's internal clock shifts. And this makes your body start to produce the chemical that makes you fall asleep later at night and naturally want to wake up later in the morning. It's not laziness. It's not bad habits. It's not because you were on your phone until midnight. This is just how your brain is programmed when you become a teenager. Forcing yourself to wake up early is actually what goes against your biological nature. So actual sleep scientists, like the people whose entire career is understanding how human sleep works, came out and said schools should not start before 8:30 in the morning. They literally wrote this and officially published it. So what did schools do when scientists said this? Schools kept starting before the sun came up. So you may be wondering,
why in the world would they still start school so early?
well, here's what nobody ever explains. School start times were never designed around when teenagers sleep. They were never designed around you at all. Why the start time is actually so early is because when the modern school system was being built, it was built to fit around adults' schedules. Adults needed to get to work around 9 a.m. on average. So kids needed to be dropped off at school before that. It was the people who created school start times that messed it all up. Every test you ever underperformed on, every time you got in trouble for falling asleep in class, that was not a you problem. That was a school starts at the wrong time problem. And it makes so much sense because I don't think I remember a single thing that went through my brain before 9 a.m. when I was in school. To be fair, I don't remember just about anything that went through my brain while I was in school, but especially before 9 a.m. But it doesn't even end there because if you're American, you could probably relate to everything I just said. But you want to know something I found out recently that grinded my gears? Schools in other countries don't start this early. Apparently in the United Kingdom, most schools start at 9 a.m. 9 a.m. That's a whole nother hour of sleep we could have gotten every single night for 14 years. And it was just taken away from us, just like how we took the tea away from the British people. Okay, sorry. At least I think that's what the Boston Tea Party is about. I don't really know anything about it, to be honest. I'm just guessing they named it that for a reason. I'm just gonna stop. I don't know what the Boston Tea Party was about because I had history class before 9 a.m. But finding out the truth behind why school starts so early makes me mad. But this next secret just makes me feel disgusted. Because have you ever wondered what the Krabby Patty formula in SpongeBob is actually made out of? If you're anything like me, all you wanted to do as a child was try one of those burgers. But after hearing this next secret, I don't think you'll ever want to be anywhere near a Krabby Patty. And to understand this next secret, we need to go over a couple things. So in the show, Mr. Krabs is a crab who sells Krabby Patties, right? And the plot for the whole show is that his rival, Plankton, is constantly trying to steal the secret Krabby Patty formula. The one recipe that makes these burgers so good that everyone in Bikini Bottom is completely obsessed with them. It's like an In-N-Out burger. The perfectly toasted bun, the grilled onions, the sauce. Oh, the sauce. Dang, now I'm really craving an In-N-Out burger. So the secret to Mr. Krabs' recipe is so important that Mr. Krabs protects it like it is literally the most valuable thing that exists. And across all of these episodes and all those years, we never find out what's actually in it. Not once. Now this is where it gets weird because Mr. Krabs has a daughter and her name is Pearl. Pearl is a whale, a large pink whale. Mr. Krabs is a small red crab. For Pearl to be Mr. Krabs' biological daughter, Pearl's mother had to have been a whale, which means at some point, Mr. Krabs was in a relationship with a whale. That whale, which is Pearl's mom, is never talked about in the show. No explanation, no backstory, no mention. There's no episode about what happened to her or where she went. She is just gone and the show doesn't address it. Apparently, there's a theory with a lot of evidence that the formula is Pearl's mom. The whale meat is the formula. Mr. Krabs refuses to let anyone near the formula because if anyone ever found out what was actually in that burger, his business would be cooked. And whales are super rare in Bikini Bottom. So that would make the
Like, bro, what? Like, are you good? Like, Chloe, make the face that I make when I get a foul called. What?
burger tastes unique to anything else you could get there. The theory gets even more dark because people think that once Mr. Krabs runs out of the meat from his wife, he's gonna have to get more. And who is the only whale left in Bikini Bottom? Mr. Krabs' daughter. Nah, that secret was too far. We gotta move on. Ice cream trucks. Let's talk about ice cream trucks because there's a secret about these you won't believe. So during our childhood, we would all hear that jingle signaling that the ice cream truck was coming by. Just picture it. You're chilling inside on a hot day, no air conditioning in your house because your parents don't ever want to turn it on. Sorry guys, I I still live with my parents, so I was just trying to get them to hear my message. But back to the scenario. So you're in the house, and then you hear it. The music coming from somewhere down the street. And there's this thing that happens in your brain that I literally cannot explain, but every single person who grew up hearing that sounds knows exactly what I'm talking about. Everything stops. Whatever you were doing becomes completely irrelevant. You sprint to find a parent. You're already negotiating before you reach them. You need cash, and you need it now. You get the money, and you're out the door chasing that van down the street like your life depended on it. Apparently, the tradition of ice cream vans playing music as they drive through neighborhoods started as a way of communicating the opposite. When the van ran out of ice cream and was done for the day, it would play music to say, hey, don't even bother coming out. The music was supposed to mean that there's no ice cream left in the van. It meant go back inside. Every single one of those times, according to the original purpose of that sound, should have meant that there was no ice cream inside the van. The music was like an outro song. The van was going home, but somehow you got ice cream out of it anyway. Which means at some point, either the whole tradition completely flipped and the music started to mean there was ice cream left. Cause like, I heard that music last week. I'm in my 20s, but I still sprinted after it. Unfortunately though, ice cream truck drivers react a lot differently when they see a 23-year-old man sprinting at them like this, compared to if they see a little kid running after the truck. But hey, adults like ice cream too, all right? Dang, now I'm really craving ice cream. Now I know we already talked about a SpongeBob secret, but there's another one that's even crazier. Because we all thought SpongeBob was just a nice cartoon about a cheerful sponge and his friends, right? No, because unfortunately, this show also had something
Really dark that will ruin your childhood.
SpongeBob SquarePants is a show
About the 7 deadly sins.
and before you think this isn't true, people who actually worked on the show have confirmed it was true. So the 7 deadly sins consist of pride, greed, lust, envy, gluttony, wrath, and sloth. And in the show, each character represents one of these sins. Patrick Star represents sloth, and it shouldn't be hard to understand why. If you don't know what sloth means, you're probably dumb. I didn't know what it meant either, to be honest. But it basically just means laziness. And Patrick lives under a literal rock and turns doing absolutely nothing into his proud, lifelong achievement. He avoids any form of employment or physical labor, and he actively celebrates his own laziness. In multiple episodes, he even wins awards for doing nothing longer than anyone else in Bikini Bottom. I'm not gonna lie, that kind of sounds like the dream life. I can't even hate on it. But the next character, Mr. Krabs, represents greed. If you've watched even just a single episode of this show ever, you would know why. All this man cares about is chasing the bag, which, to be honest, I respect. But his whole life is consumed by the pursuit of money. He don't care about how his friends are doing, his family. His entire identity revolves around wealth, to the point where he literally dates a sack of money. You gotta remember, this is the same guy who quite literally sold SpongeBob's soul to the Flying Dutchman for 62 cents. Now, can you guess what sin Squidward is? Wrath. The more I go through all these characters, the more obvious it becomes that this show really was based off the 7 deadly sins. But Squidward represents wrath because he basically hates everything and everyone. He hates his neighbors, he hates his job, and he can't stand when other people are happy. The only thing he actually does seem to enjoy in his life is his clarinet, and even that doesn't like him back. We all know a Squidward in our life. Like, I'm sure when I said that, someone came to mind right away. So you know what I want you to do? Call the person in your life who reminds you most of Squidward right now. Will they be happy you called? No. But that's the point. Plankton represents the sin of envy. His entire existence is literally fueled by jealousy over how much more successful the Krusty Krab is than his restaurant. He despises Mr. Krabs, obsessing daily over how to destroy his restaurant rather than just focusing on how to make his own restaurant better. Next up, we got Gary, because Gary's only motivation in life is to eat. That is the only reason he wakes up in the morning. So the sin Gary represents is gluttony. The only time he speaks is when he's crying for a meal. And when his food bowl runs empty, Gary will literally eat through the living room furniture out of pure hunger. Gary, you would be very good friends with my cat because my cat is obese. Seriously, I'm not joking. It's actually getting concerning. But I don't know how to stop it because he'll scream at me if I don't feed him all the time. Like, if anyone has any tips on how to get my cat to stop doing this, please tell me. And for another main character of the show, Sandy, she represents the sin of pride. Sandy is the only character in the show who is a land mammal, not from the ocean. And she takes such pride of that in the show. She's basically like anyone you'll ever meet from Texas, to be honest. And no, I'm not roasting anyone that lives there.